Today we have with us a multifaceted personality, writer, actor, singer and more. A man who has captured a special place in our hearts with his style and substance. Shri Murali Gopy. You grew up breathing cinema, acting runs in your blood. Did you always want to be part of Tinseltown?
No, it was actually accidental. Everything that has happened in my life is accidental actually. I have always loved cinema as a medium, and I was always hooked to it, even when I was a child. But then I had never been an ambitious kid, nor am I ambitious as an adult. Cinema just happened, as is the case with everything else in my life. Be it journalism, be it my stumbling upon short story writing. Anything that has happened to me has been accidental so far.
So what comes to you more naturally? Is it acting or writing?
I'm just a student.
Okay.
Acting, I have never considered myself to be an actor. And I consider my father the best in the world.
Okay.
All the more reason for me to believe that I have nothing to do in acting.
Okay.
So it just happened to me, and when I act, I give my maximum to it, and when I write, I give my best to it. So what I'm doing at the moment, at a particular moment, I give my best to it, whatever it is.
But what is more enjoyable?
Everything in art is enjoyable.
Okay.
Anything creative is enjoyable, whether it is acting or writing. The only area of concern is whether you are able to apply and whether you are able to translate your thoughts into the medium that you are working on, whether it is acting or writing. When you write, you have to get to a particular mode to do that thing, and when it is acting, it is a completely different exercise. Right. So you have to identify your modes, both as a writer and as an actor. The writer's mode is different from an actor's mode. So the creativity shifts mode every time you shift position from being a writer to being an actor.
For you, which requires less effort?
Anything creative entails its own amount of effort. So nothing is easy. Nothing comes easy to me. I try my best. That's all. Okay. That's all I can say.
Okay. How has the script evolved? What are the different stages through which a scriptwriter travels?
It could start with a thought, with a thread, with a basic thread, and I just allow it to flourish within me.
Okay.
After the thread comes in, it could be a drop of an idea at first, and then you allow it to create ripples in you, and after that you just watch the ripples from a vantage point, which you decide where it should be, and you just observe the theme, observe yourself, and explore yourself, the theme, and it's a completely different process. I'm not able to encapsulate it in a few sentences.
Okay, but how is it? Are you swarmed with ideas? How do you decide that this is a particular plot that I will allow myself to?
Ideas for screenplays have always occurred to me.
Okay.
Even when I was a kid, I used to think of stories in the film format.
Okay.
I used to hear the musical strains, the imaginary musical strains, even when I think about scenes.
Okay.
I think of stories. I usually think of stories as visuals. Visuals comes first. I mean, visuals come first, and I actually listen and see my stories, my screenplays. So I always keep myself in darkness so that I can see the visuals in my mind. It's almost like viewing a film.
Okay.
And I just allow myself to view my film on screen first, and I just take it down, and it becomes a screenplay. That's what's happening, I think.
Okay. And so why aren't you directing a movie in that case, if you can see the movie as it is?
Directing is a very responsible job, as far as I am concerned. There are people now who think that directing is the easiest thing on earth, because if you have an associate director, a group of good technicians, a good cameraman, you can direct. That is the basic norm for some people. But I think it's the most responsible job on earth, because a director has to be content conscious, he has to be technologically aware, and he has to have something to say with his film.
Okay.
So all these criteria, this criteria is tough to meet. You have to have something to say. You have to have a screenplay which you agree with. You have to convey the theme and the treatment to you first before you go for a take. So that's a tough process, and I
But
think
all that happens to you as you write the script.
yeah, I do that, but technologically and regarding the other facets of cinema, I still consider myself a student.
Okay.
And when I see myself as when I see myself eligible enough to wield the megaphone, I'll
Okay.
definitely do it. And I think I'll do it soon because
Okay.
there are offers.
Right.
So come 2015, and I may direct a film.
I see. You said from childhood itself you have these stories coming to you as visuals and so on. So what took you so long to get to the filmy world?
As I said, I have not been an ambitious boy. I've never been an ambitious boy. I used to love films, and I just I never ever thought that films will happen to me, though I loved it very much.
But you would have had access to people in the film industry, right?
Yeah, my Achan used to build a wall between his career and his family.
Okay.
So he always kept us away from the limelight, and we seldom went to film sets.
Okay.
And he used to discuss art. He used to discuss films with us, but industry was kept at an arm's length.
Okay.
So I have never been able to, as kids, me and my sister, we were never part of the film circle, and we always considered it something that is happening somewhere else.
Okay.
And that could be one of the reasons why I had this affinity towards the magic that was cinema. Had I been introduced in that early stage to the nitty-gritties of filmmaking and industry, I think I would have lost interest in the art, the magic that is cinema.
Okay. Are you following the same pattern with your family?
I think so.
Okay. The script of your upcoming movie Lucifer is being much talked about. And
Actually, the project has been pushed now.
Okay.
I'm doing a film for Radish Ambat,
okay.
who is a leading art filmmaker now. So I'm doing a film with him. That is going to be my next project, and it has Dilip, Fahad, and me playing the main characters. And it's going to be different from my earlier two films.
Okay, but my question was, does the casting of a star affect or influence the writing of a script?
I look at my screenplay first. I look at my characters first. I cast only after I have a complete picture of the character that I have made.
Okay.
And after I'm confident about my characters, I let the characters speak to me as to who they want themselves to be played on screen.
Okay.
So it's a kind of communication that happens between the character and the writer. And of course, star considerations are there because satellite value, so-called satellite value, star value has its own relevance in the industry of today. So it always counts.
But how does it affect the script? Suppose you have Mohanlal playing a lead role. Do you tweak your script to...
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
But when someone of his stature comes into your screenplay, you have to be responsible to both the star in him and the actor in him, and that's a tough trapeze to balance.
Your latest movie, Vedi Vazhubada, is creating quite a bit of controversy. What is your stand on the role of the censor board?
Censor board, I am against the concept of censor board being an authority that decides whether the people should see a film or not.
Okay.
And I consider it patronizing when an authority of its stature decides what should be shown and what should not be shown. And I think that is anti-democratic.
Okay.
It's an anti-democratic practice to do that.
Then what
But
is
then
the role?
certification is an important thing. Certification as a certification authority, it really has relevance because actually it was started to be a certification authority. So certifying films is a need, and whether children should see a film or not is always a relevant question.
Okay.
But whether adults should see a film or not, or whether adults should see this portion of the film or that portion of the film, that is all. That's all. I don't agree with all.
You worked with prominent dailies like the Hindu and the Indian Express. You're currently the entertainment editor with MSN India.
I used to be. I'm now the consultant.
Okay, right. But you're seriously involved with the media and a journalist. What is your take on the current media? Do you think the media should exercise more responsibility and maturity in the way it
Yeah, of course.
operates?
It has been like that always. Now, the biggest problem facing media is its own proliferation.
Okay.
That's what I think. There are more media houses than there are people. So, media is always in search of news, and people always want to be in news. So this will create I think this will create an unholy nexus between fame seekers and media, and which will result in a complete loss of accuracy and credibility. That's what I think.
Okay, is that happening? You see that happening?
It's happening. It has started happening.
Your interests are diverse. You sing, you act, you write. So how difficult is this, managing this varied portfolio?
I give my best to whatever I'm offered. That is my only criterion while selecting my different garbs, as you said. When I act, I give my best. When I write, I give my best. And when I sing, I'm like a kid who tries to give his best.
Would you describe yourself as a loner?
I can. That's all.
Why? Why did you say you can?
No, it's a question. It's an introspective question. I have to have great introspection to actually answer that.
But aren't you introspective by nature?
I am both introspective and I'm not actually sure about my the kind of person I am.
Okay.
Because sometimes I'm an extrovert, and sometimes I think I'm introspective and a great introvert. So I am at a loss of words when it comes to describing myself. There are moments when I think I'm a loner. That's all.
Okay. What are your political leanings?
I think a creative person should always keep a basic distance between ideologies.
Why?
And him, because I don't think there should be a political stance for a creative artist. There should be an equidistance.
Okay.
There should be some kind of a non-alignment within him, so that he can always observe. His interference, his artistic or his creative interference should come from his what I will say, learned detachment.
Okay. Were you involved in student politics?
I have always been a great observer. I have never been involved directly.
Okay. You spoke about your father. What are the biggest qualities that you admire in him?
His focus towards what he did creatively. As an actor, he was complete. He was near complete. No man can be totally complete, perfect. I mean, he was near perfect. No one can be perfect.
Okay.
And as I said, I consider him the best actor ever to have graced cinema. And his greatest quality, I think, was his focus towards what he did on screen or outside it.
Okay. What are some of the traits you think you have inherited from him?
I think I would be the wrong person to answer that.
What do you think?
No, I'm so much in awe of. I'm so much in awe of my father that I consider myself very inferior to him.
You talked about focus being his strongest quality. What about you? Do you think it's important to be focused?
Yeah, it's absolutely important to be focused in whatever you do.
Okay.
If I have imbibed anything from my father, I think it is the will to focus on something you do.
Okay.
I always try my best with the things I do.
Okay.
And I always make it a point that I am focused in whatever creative things I.
But do you get drawn into different things? Say you lose interest fast, and Does that happen to you, or?
I always consider myself a student.
Okay.
So it is always a learning experience. Anything that you do, it's always a learning experience for me, and I try to give my best to whatever I do.
Okay. Will you tell us a bit about your mother?
Yeah, she's one of the strongest characters I have ever come across in my life.
Okay.
She has always been a pillar of strength. When my father went down after he was affected by a paralytic stroke, she was our. I always compare her with the legendary Nargis Dutt's character in Mother India.
Okay.
She used to be. She used to be and still is our pillar of strength.
Okay. Are your children artistically inclined?
They are in their own way, their own sweet way.
Okay. Will you tell us a little bit about your upcoming projects?
I'm acting in. I've just finished doing Lal Jose's Edu Sundara Ratri. Then comes Naku Penta Naku Taka, which is a Swahili name, which means I love you, I want you. Okay. And it's a thriller which bases itself in Kenya.
Okay.
So I do a guest appearance in that movie, and I play Sinhalese character, Sinhalese hitman, who is called Anton Kulasingam. In Edu Sundara Ratri, I play a boxer, and then comes 1/2.
Okay.
Arun Kumar Aravin's 1/2, and it's a psychological thriller, and I play all sorts of diverse characters in these films.
Okay. Thank you for being on Rosebowl. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.